Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. If you're listening, if you're watching, it could be on YouTube, and if you're listening, it could be on Spotify or Apple. And I've got a guest with me today called Hubert Klaja. Hubert and I have worked together before. Hubert's done some work with one of our clients. They're a private equity. They're a family-backed business of a few hundred million, but they very much operated like a private equity business, and that's because of the chief exec. The chief exec very dynamic, and Hubert came in as part of a transformation team, and his background is data science, and the subject that we're going to speak about today is from an AI perspective, understanding what your business can and cannot get from it. But without me going into too much more detail, Hubert, why don't you say hello and introduce yourself?
Thank you very much, Mark, for the kind introduction and inviting me to your podcast. So I am Hubert. I am a PhD in mathematics. It has been several years now. I've been operating as an independent consultant in artificial intelligence, machine learning engineering, data science, data engineering. I've been working on all aspects of an AI and data project, from planning, strategy to hands-on implementation for clients of all sizes, from startups to FTSE 100 company in different industry, including real estate, insurance, agriculture, retailer, e-commerce, and so on.
Great, thank you. So just a bit of clarification for people, because as they know, I supply people who are interim managers, so that's board influencing contractors. We also can supply contractors, but normally as part of a larger team, and we've deployed quite large teams into clients, especially to do transformation. But we also introduce independent consultants into that. So there's always a thought with the client that when you mention consultant, the question is this person hands-on? Are they going to be, throwing loads of PowerPoints at me, or are they a hands-on delivery type person? Maybe you can expand a bit in terms of your style.
Yeah, I've started to get experience in a startup, and in startup it's a very great place to start because you get to do a bit of everything. Because if you don't do it yourself, nobody will get it done. It needs to get done. So very early, I've been doing a lot of things, including the hands-on and the planification and the strategy, and that's something that I liked a lot. And usually, what clients like with me is the small one, the startups, is the fact that I'm a jack of all trade. I can talk the talk and walk the walk, and help with the planification and also execute if they're happy with the planification. I have also some very deep expertise, with some area of data in AI, like geospatial graph, Gen AI as well, and sometimes bigger client they like me to have as part of their team as just an expert on one aspect of data, or which I'm mastering a lot. So I'm used to occupy a lot of position, whether it's the full pipeline or just a specific part of the pipeline.
Excellent, thank you. I mean, the area that you did some work for us was on the graph modeling side, wasn't it? Which, not every organization, one, has the budget, and secondly, has the foresight to do graph modeling, but it's an essential part, and it will become more of an essential part of a company's toolkit. And I personally found that quite interesting, learning a little bit about it. But you mentioned AI, and I think what a lot of businesses are doing at the moment is they're reading about AI. And it ranges from AI is not going to help that much, it's going to cost a fortune to implement, through to I don't care how much it costs, but it's the silver bullet and it's going to solve everything for me, and then everything in between. I mean, it is a confusing space right now for people who aren't as technical as let's say you are as a data scientist. Back to the question that we were talking about, which is, what can a business get from AI, and what can't a business get from AI? Where would you like to start?
Well, if they want, maybe at the beginning, if they want to start with AI, they need to. One good framework to start is a 4-step framework in which I like to operate, where the 4 steps are: identify business opportunities, build a proof of concept, productionize and measure. And measure, you need to measure at all time, even though it's the last step, you need to think it at all the steps. Maybe I can share a few stories to illustrate a bit to your audience. I've been working a lot recently with GenAI project, and usually I come visit the client business and try to understand their business, their data, and very often I come across situation along the line of the business has a lot of information and knowledge within the business, but due to accessibility issue, the knowledge is within the company, they know, but nobody knows. Maybe if you consider the following example, if I'm making appear in front of you 1,000 page with all the information about one topic, say Gen AI for the sake of the example, theoretically you could answer every question about Gen AI because it's in the document in front of you. But so theoretically you are now an expert. Congratulations. But this is just theoretical, because if concretely I'm asking you a question, you still have to read through the 1,000 document and not fall asleep while doing so in order to not miss the relevant bit of information relevant to answer my question. So theoretically, you do know, but practically you don't. And this situation has many incarnations across several business, across several industry. And with one of the great use case of Gen AI is you can address it in a very elegant way, and it depends on the solution, but generally it boils down to find the most pertinent indexing solution for the knowledge, and you create an easy access to that knowledge. And usually it takes the form of a chatbot where the user asks their question, an AI agent takes the question, query the index to find the most relevant information, formulate an answer to the original question in plain English, and as it retrieves the information internally through an index, can also give reference where exactly in the knowledge base we've used information to answer your question. So you can check for yourself if you have trust issue. And this is typically a tool that reduces the time to access information, improve the efficiency there, and that is easy to productionize because chatbots, they're highly engaging. Everybody wants to use it, or at least a lot of people. And this is for instance, the kind of project I can do in Gen AI, but I work also in classical AI, just to not give a biased opinion to your audience. Maybe in a more classical AI setup, I've been working also with a client that was selling goods and services, a lot of it over the phone. And back then they wanted to increase their revenue and profit per customer. So discussing with the client, and understanding their business and their data, we came to the idea that it would be great to build a recommendation engine. The idea was that using historical pattern of the baskets of client, we could build a model predicting that if a client buys product A, then it would be highly likely to buy product B, C, and D, and then push those as an upsell to increase the revenue and the profit. So we've built a proof of concept, and we've took some salespeople that were highly engaged with the idea, and we realized that the proof of concept increased the revenue by 30% per customer targeted, which meant success for the POC. And this helped greatly with the productionization. The productionization, there's all the technical part, and the technical part, I don't want to undermine the technical part. This is very important. You need to not mess it up, so to speak. It needs to be done correctly, and this is an important part, but as equally as important is also the business part of productionization. And one of the early pushback of the project was a few senior salesperson had a pushback along the line of, we don't want to spend an hour in a meeting with the weirdos from the basement telling us what to do. We prefer to spend that hour over the phone trying to sell more stuff to our client, increasing the revenue for the company. And not said explicitly, but felt loud enough that we heard it, increasing our commission at the end of the month. And in all honesty, at the beginning of the project, that's a fair pushback. But because we've built a successful POC and we've measured the performance, the proof was in the pudding, so to speak, of the project.
Yeah.
And the success of the POC helped greatly with the success of the business productionization of the project.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, in terms of creating a POC, a proof of concept, you know, how long does that take? How many people are involved in that? And just so people can get an idea of, or potential clients can get an idea of, how much would that cost?
It depends. I guess it depends on the POC. It depends on who do the POC. You can have. It depends on the complexity and the task at hand. You can start with a team of one. That is, if the one is independent enough, or if you have already, if you're already an organization that is very mature, that has already its productionization system on point with their version controlling, then you can maybe have team of 2 or 3 building POC, a POC, say, to improve iteratively an existing AI model. So it depends really where you are in your AI and data journey, what kind of project you want to do.
Yeah.
For starting from scratch, if you take the right person, you can start with one person to test on a one-off project, and if you choose the opportunity that are simple enough to be done by one person, and usually you start small, and as you have a project that have higher and higher impact, it will justify putting more and
Of
more
course.
means towards your data and AI department, and therefore you might have bigger teams, bigger infrastructure, bigger cloud capacity, which will allow you to do more and more. You need, if you're starting from zero, start small, easy, with project easy to deploy, easy to be understood by your business, and as you get win, you will be able to gradually and slowly get more and more difficult project that will give more and more reward for your business.
Yeah, of course. That's great. I don't think we've had anyone on a podcast that's explained it like that before. In terms of, if you can imagine the poor decision makers at the moment are being bombarded by lots of people saying AI is the answer to everything. And I think what we're saying is that the AI can improve the business. It can improve profitability, and it can improve sales. Yes, it's going to need some input from the team, but what you don't need is you don't need a big collection of, let's say, data scientists and AI experts to start to build this. You can start this with one person and start to build it slowly. And as we're measuring along the way, then the business will be wanting to invest more into that one person and maybe then start to grow a team, because the proof of concept is going to turn into reality. And then the reality is going to start to fund the extra growth within the AI team. And then before you know it, you are an AI business. You're a business that's making decisions based on AI. And that can happen quite quickly, can't it?
Yes, it's you need to get started to go further and further on that journey. Yes.
If you're a client and you're a little worried about, am I going to start the rabbit running, and I'm never going to be able to catch it? Am I never going to be able to stop it? The budget's going to go out the window, and these things are going to cost me a fortune. It's going to be disruptive to the business. I think what we can safely say to the customer is, look, it's not going to disrupt the business. To get a proof of concept, that's not disruptive. It's not going to be that expensive because we've not got hordes of people doing this, and it can be done relatively quickly. And also, if the client decides no go, so we get proof of concept and they go no go, there's no damage done, right?
At proof of concept stage, no. Well, if you've identified your opportunity and you're building a proof of concept, you can iterate on your proof of concept. You need to start somewhere. A journey of 1,000 miles always start with a single step. So you start with your POC. It will it will be what it will be. You measure the output, and you at that point in time, once you finish your POC, you can think, how much do I like the POC? Is it bringing already enough value to start thinking about deploying that into the business, or can we improve again this POC before it brings value to the business? In which way? And you go in an iterative manner um, with this kind of data and AI project.
Yeah, that's for me, that's reassuring, because whenever I speak to clients about AI, they want an element of, can I control it? Is there a element of clarity? You know, these things, like I said before, about the cost running away. And it sounds like this can be done in a really managed way, in not such a big bang perspective. You know, if we go back to the original question, is, you know, what can the business get out of AI, and what can't it get out of AI? I think what we've covered today is that it's not a silver bullet. It's not going to happen overnight, but it could really, really improve the business. And actually, you should start, because it's non-destructive, it's not that expensive, but start now. You know, don't wait. Start now, because you've got lots of go no goes on the run up to it. Okay, so Hubert, thank you very much for your time, sir. I think what you've done is probably given us some clarity and given potential clients some clarity in terms of AI, what's possible, what's not possible. I think the takeaway that I got from this was just start. Hubert, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Thanks, bye.